Once upon a time, there was a wandering monk who traveled from town to town, spreading the teachings of the Buddha. The monk was known for his kind heart and his simple way of life, and people would often invite him to stay with them and share his wisdom. One day, the monk came upon a small village that was suffering from drought and famine. The crops had failed, and many families were going hungry. The monk was saddened to see the villagers struggling, so he decided to stay and help in any way he could. He went from house to house, offering words of encouragement and advice, and he was always willing to lend a listening ear to those who needed it. But despite his best efforts, the situations in the village only seemed to worsen. People were growing more and more desperate, and the monk began to feel overwhelmed and powerless. One evening, the monk was invited to dinner by a poor family who lived on the outskirts of the village. The family was composed of an elderly couple, their daughter, and her two young children. They were kind and hospitable, and they welcomed the monk into their home with open arms. Despite their own struggles, the family had prepared a simple meal of rice and vegetables for their guest. The monk was touched by their generosity, and he blessed the food, hoping that it would bring them a little bit of comfort in their time of need. As they sat down to eat, the family noticed that the monk was only taking small bites of his food, and they became concerned. They asked him if he wasn't hungry, and the monk explained that he was fasting in order to purify his mind and deepen his spiritual practice. The family was shocked, as they had only enough food to feed themselves, and they had nothing left over to offer the monk. But the monk assured them that he was content with just a little bit of food, and he encouraged them to eat as much as they needed. As they ate, the family noticed something strange happening. The food in their bowls seemed to be multiplying before their very eyes. They soon realized that their small portion of food was enough to feed all five of them, and they were filled with joy and gratitude. Over the next few days, the monk continued to stay with the family, and they noticed that their food continued to multiply each time they ate. They soon realized that the monk's blessings was responsible for this miracle, and they began to share their food with the other families in the village. As word of the monk's kindness, the family's generosity spread. More and more people began to come to the village in search of food, and despite the overwhelming demand, the food continued to multiply, providing sustenance for all who needed it. The monk eventually had to leave the village, but the family and the other villagers never forgot his kindness. They continued to practice the teachings of the Buddha and to live their lives with generosity and compassion, and their village soon became known as a place of abundance and happiness. This story of the wandering monk and the poor family is a reminder of the power of generosity and kindness. It shows us that even the smallest act of kindness can have a profound impact on the lives of others, and that the blessings we receive from our generosity can multiply and spread far beyond what we could ever imagine. Hope you understood the message well. Thanks for watching. Stay blessed.